and welcome to the Love MEESH Podcast. I am your host, Meesh. There are a billion people in the world, and I'm just one of them. And welcome to my podcast, where I'll share my thoughts, opinions, and ramblings, and sometimes I'll have guests, and no subject is off limits. So let the conversation begin. Mimi, go Mimi. It's the Meesha Podcast. Hey, go me, go Mimi. Hey, loves, and welcome to another episode of Luv MEESH Podcast. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Summer Walker and her decision to have a vegan baby. Now, first of all, don't come from my girl Summer. When I tell you I love Summer Walker from when she first came out with Girls Needs Love Too, I already knew she was different. I loved her style. I love how she didn't try to fit in. She didn't deny the fact that she got her little butt done. I just like authentically gravitated towards her. I didn't even know she was into like crystals and stuff like that. So I actually see her growing. She doesn't just talk about this. She shows on her video what she learns and she tries to share it with other people. And I honestly think that's why they're coming for her. Always remember there is a bigger agenda. Like these celebrities and actresses and actors, they're like puppets. You have so many followers and you have to do what your controllers tell you to do, or they will eliminate you. You'll be a one-hit wonder. You'll be out of here. So when I saw that she was like teaching people about crystals and all that stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, she gonna have to be careful because they're gonna definitely be coming for her. So let's get to the topic. This particular topic is about Summer Walker and her choice to be vegan. I'm gonna give you my little 2 cents, and then at the end, I have two videos. One where this woman is giving the negative um, ingredients in some formulas, and two, there's a lady having an interview that has a healthy 2-year-old vegan and different choices and questions that you may want to ask a vegan mom. She answers them, and I agree with both of the videos. If you guys have been following my podcast, you know that I'm vegan, and in the future, when I have my own children or my mate's children or adopt children, I would love to introduce them into the vegan world. More so when they're younger. As they become older, I will let them make their choice. I'm not going to be going all out here buying all hella meat. We're going to have our vegan days, but I'm also going to compromise and let them have their meat days, especially if the father is into meat as well. So the first thing that came to my mind with this particular topic was, one, how many people actually looked up the pros and cons of formula before commenting? Okay. Two, how many people actually look up the pros and cons of all the groceries they buy before putting them in their basket and going to checking out, and not only feeding themselves, but feeding the person that they love, their mate, as well as the person that they love, their children. Love to me is a word that is just thrown around so effortlessly, and some people don't even have a clue of what that is. If studies have shown that meat is a carcinogen number 2, go look it up. It does cause cancer, and they brought it down from level 2 to level 1. I don't give a fuck unless it's level 0. That shit causes cancer. But you love your mate so much, and you love your kids so much that you buy it and you eat it. Make it make sense. Okay. Now, I wasn't always this way. I personally couldn't even hold down soy milk. So milk. And I don't even know if my mom breastfed. I don't even really know the story of that. But when it came to milk, she said I would throw it up like a fountain. I would not hold it down. She, cared for me. She took me to the doctor. She wanted to make sure her baby could eat. So the doctor prescribed soy. And in the video, one of the ladies says one of the last options is soy. If you can't get your baby to do breast milk, if you can't get your baby to eat milk, like the baby's going to have to do something. So she said the last resort was soy. I would like to counteract that. The last resort should not be soy, in my opinion, with the things that I know now today. I have successfully made my own almond milk. I just saw videos today on how you make hemp milk, since everybody want to be laughing at Summer about for making hemp milk for her baby. And it's not hard to do, you guys. All you need is spring water, alkaline water, the purest water that you can get. Um, you can even do sea moss. You get your seeds, you get your almonds. You need a blender, and you just blend the shit, and it's gonna be white. Why American companies can't do the same thing to our benefit? Because they make money off of us being sick. They make money off of us going to the doctor and getting prescriptions, and when we die at the fucking funeral, they're just getting money all around. And that video that you guys are going to hear from the woman, she recommended European milk, and I was like, oh my god, yes, we do live in an age where you can order stuff online. So oh my god, I can literally order my baby's milk from overseas. She was saying corn syrup is um, illegal over there. You cannot have corn syrup. um, so she posed the question: if this country doesn't allow corn syrup, that just shows you how much they care about the food and the ingredients and their people versus America. And I keep telling y'all time and time again, in my master's degree of executive leadership, business administration, I had to switch to leadership because I could not get past that account class, y'all. 1, 2, 3 strikes is out of state tuition. So it's already knocking my head off. I just could not do it. Um, and it's so funny. Every job I've ever had, it's finance. It's working with people money. It's numbers. And my chart says that I'm gonna be successful and make money off of handling people's money. So, I already know that's the lane that I'm gonna be in, and it has been proven true my whole life. Like my first call center jobs was like phone service. Then it switched to Bank of America. Then it switched to Citibank. Now I'm at Internal Revenue Service, which is handling people's money yet again. So I just cannot get away from it. But let me get back to the topic. Now that and I heard someone else said that they ordered their groceries from overseas. So that has been put into my spirit 2 times. So universe is just letting me know, hey, American food is just not the best. Whenever you get a chance, the best thing to do may be to order your food from overseas and to plan in advance. It's probably going to take a while to get from there here, especially with all the craziness going on in the world today. Getting back to Summer Walker and her vegan baby, did you guys take a chance to research um, how to raise a vegan baby? What does a vegan baby eat? The health of being a vegan baby. Now, I don't want to be all positive, so let me just talk about the dark side really quick. I did see some disturbing pictures of babies that look very very malnutrition. Like they look like the babies on TV. Oh, for 10 cents a day, you can feed this child, and that was very heartbreaking. I'm not gonna love vegans so much that my baby's gonna be a skeleton. That just doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna try my damnedest to do the milk. If the baby isn't latching, I'm gonna try to pump. If the pump isn't working, I know how to do the porridge and the hemp milk and all that other stuff. It doesn't take rocket scientists. We are just fucking lazy. That's the bottom line. We are lazy. You can make your own hamburger and fries, but what do? You go to Burger King, you go to Wendy's, you know what I mean? You go to McDonald's. We are just fucking lazy. Like our parents and our grandparents was in that kitchen cooking from sun up to sundown. My dad said his mom made breakfast, lunch, and dinner from fucking scratch. And she had the audacity to make dessert with each dinner. Okay. Now, I don't know if she's working full time. Times have changed. Women work just as hard as men now. But goddamn, from scratch, I'm going to say that was a job because just thinking about bread, flour, and kneading and letting it rise and all that other stuff. They probably grew vegetables too. That kind of was a job. So I'm gonna give it to them. Like, damn, that's a lot. But it was more healthy for them. If you look at our parents, they had like less diseases because they didn't use microwaves. They used stoves and stuff like that. But as we progress with technology and as we go to these restaurants and just as we step away from doing things naturally on our own, where we can see what's really going on and we put that responsibility in someone's hands, we're reaping the consequences of that. You don't know what's going on in those factories. All we hear on the news is, oh, there's been a recall. Did you eat the stuff already before it was recalled? What if they destroyed those reports and decided not to put out a recall? You know how many people get sick and die and there's no lawsuits and nobody ever hears about that because it's so hush hush. It's just like a scary world. Like, you don't know. There's just a lot of secrets with putting that responsibility in someone's hands. But when I was in college, I did a report on Pepsi or Coca-Cola. One of them, the chemicals in the soda was so bad that they tried to ship products to Africa. Africa declined it, said it didn't meet their standards. I had to do this was like a PA class, public relations, PR class. So I had to do a report, telling social media, telling the citizens, okay, we're going to recall this product. We're going to hire some experts. We're going to retest it. We're going to change our ingredients. We do, love our clients, love our people, love our health. And this is what we're going to do to change it. Now, although that was my job, that was my assignment, let's be honest. If the company really cared about that, would they have already put those measures in place? Yes. But the fact that they were called out on their bullshit and they made the changes, that's almost like cheating and saying you're sorry versus saying, damn, baby, I messed up. I got something to tell you, what we gonna do. I will always respect that personally because that takes a lot of courage to admit that you did something that could cost your whole relationship. You're willing to put it all on the table so that that person can honestly make a decision about what they want to do. You've already made the decision about what you wanted to do. Now let them decide if they're going to, continue, if y'all need to renegotiate some rules, if y'all need to step away, if it's not going to work out. Like, honestly, it hurts like a motherfucker, but I will always respect it. I will, because you have to be honest with yourself before you're honest with someone else. And the reason people lie is they're not even honest with themselves first. You have to be honest with yourself and know that truth for yourself to be able to relate it to someone else. And that's like looking in the mirror. A lot of people don't want to do that. Let's get back on topic. Growing up, my best friend's brother had a baby, and he has another background, culture, ethnicity, and so did his child's mother. And I remember, being at my best friend's house and hearing that blender go off. She's in the kitchen making porridge for their baby. And when I tell you, this girl is like 7 or 8 now, no, probably 10. Yeah, they're little preteens. She is so smart and bright. When we have conversations, I'm talking to her like she's freaking 33, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember she's just a baby. She's just so like smart, bright, and mature for her age. And I think, again, the parents' genes, but also the food that she was eating at the most important parts of her growth, where she was growing her brain and her mind and her organs and stuff. Don't you just hate when that happens? I said so much and it did not record. It did not save. And I don't even think I can repeat everything, but I'm definitely going to give it a try. Oh, that just breaks my heart. I hate when that happens. Okay. So, to continue with Summer Walker and her vegan baby, I wrote down some notes. I'll make sure I was touching all of these notes. People are shaming Summer Walker for raising her baby vegan. Well, for one, I like Summer Walker, so fuck off. And for two, I'm vegan and I would like to raise my kids vegan one day as well. Breast milk is the best, but not all moms can, and not all kids latch on. Pumping is good as well, but you have to do what's best for mom and her body. And if you can't, that's okay. You also have to do what's best for baby. But store-bought formula is not it. I hate to say it. I'll list several videos of healthy vegan families and healthy vegan babies. Now, you have some people that are going to the extremes. If your baby looks sick, you're doing more harm than good. Now, I did see some pictures on YouTube where the babies look like, for just 10 cents a day, you can give this child some food. And I'm like, well, damn. I don't care, how healthy your vegan regimen is. That baby isn't doing too well on that regimen. So you don't need to go to that extreme. So I'm not just all for vegan. You have to do what's best for mom and baby. And for the picture I saw, her baby looks just fine. My sister had tiny. I've seen tiny babies before. Some babies are tiny, and those be the ones that end up growing up to be real chunky. And if you're not her pediatrician, like really, none of us are really her pediatrician. So what can we really say about the baby's health? They're all just opinions on our assumption on how we raised our kid, what we think is best, XYZ. But I have a question. How many of you have researched? How many of you have researched the pros and cons of raising a vegan baby, the success of raising a vegan baby, the harms of formula? We just like throw out these opinions without doing any research. And again, I'm thankful that I just love to read and learn, and that in school we had to do all of these essays. Now y'all know, in college it's always discussion board essays. This is the point of view. Do you agree, disagree? This is how many sites and sources you have to have. And you cite your sources, and you only have this percent, or it's going to be considered plagiarism. So we all know the deal. So we should all know how to research. A lot of us have gone to school. You don't just start researching because you're finished with school. Continue that shit. I'm gonna need for these people to get the fuck on. Continue that shit in real life as well. I'm sorry. I got over recording. I'm at Wawa, and what the fuck is this, guys? $2.69, and it's like hella cars here. I literally have to be behind somebody to wait for them to get in the damn car so I can get the fucking pump. But let's see. All in all, raising a vegan baby can be done. My best friend's niece was raised on porridge, and of course, they had a different background and culture outside of American, and she's very, very bright. I wonder why people don't bash parents with obese kids. Why isn't DCF doing anything? Perhaps that's the goal. Think about it. Now, have you guys seen a video where, oh my God, this baby is hella fat. Where are the parents? Where are y'all feeding that baby? Oh my God, call DCF. Have y'all seen a video on that? I bet not. I bet fucking not. I found another thing, y'all, because those people, I don't know what they fucking doing, but they don't take that long for you guys and get the fuck on. It's so crazy. Let's see. I'm gonna just finish it when I come back. All right, so let's wrap it up with part 3. All in all, do your best in life, and everything that you do, especially as a parent. Your kid is literally depending on you to make the best choices for their health and their survival, so please don't take it lightly. But it all starts with you. If you aren't making healthy choices for yourself and your family, chances are you won't change with a new arrival. Just try to be better daily. The more you know, the more you grow. Knowledge is power. Don't let it go to waste. You can pay to live healthy now, or you can pay doctor bills and surgeries, etc., because of your unhealthy choices now, later. Maybe we should all just mind our business, and the world will be a better place. Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. However, me, sharing is caring. It takes a whole village to raise a child. So let's raise them right the best way we can. And I said that to say, my mom always says, when you have a child, there's no manual. You know what your parents did. You know what you saw. You see the things that you're doing that work and don't work. But you don't have all the answers. So it's okay to hear something and say, I may want to implement that in my life. It's okay to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you didn't know formula was harmful. They lie about so much shit. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe you didn't know. But now that you know this information, are you going to continue to use formula? Are you going to try to switch? Do you care? Do you not care? And whatever you answer to those questions, that's fine. Those are your particular answers. But when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And there's some people that really can't, you know what I mean? They're just trying to survive to get to the next day. And I completely understand that, trust me. So all I have to say to wrap it all up is leave Summer Walker alone. That is her child. She can raise her child the same, however she wants to. If, people running around here with obese kids that are unhealthy and nobody is saying anything, then leave her alone for feeding her baby hemp milk. And if you go on YouTube, it's perfectly fine to drink hemp milk. There's people all over the world in various countries that don't use formula. They don't even have to be vegan. Formula is not the only way. Cow's milk is not the only way. You know what I mean? What if the mama died giving birth and there's no breast milk around? They're going to figure out how to feed that baby so that baby can survive. So just chill. Like, this shit was just blown way out of proportion. I think it has more so to do with Summer being spiritual. She always talking about crystals and tarot cards and sound baths and stuff like that. We already know the industry is not with that. So usually bad publicity gets shut down. But when you're not on their team, they're going to let everything ride. So hopefully she's strong mentally where she knows, I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I'm doing right by my baby. You eat all that piece of shit and you end up in the hospital because you don't want to pick up a fucking book and read and leave me and my goddamn family alone. Hopefully she's strong enough to not let the opinions of others rock her. And that can go for whatever side. Whatever choice you make, if you feel comfortable, stand on it. But sometimes when people are wrong, instead of admitting that they're wrong, they want to attack. They want to attack or reflect or, you know what I mean? Because now, let's say tomorrow a brand new company opens up and it's hemp milks for babies. Everybody will be fucking quiet. Just because it's not a company and you don't see hemp milk formula on the shelf doesn't mean that it's not healthy. Like, what's wrong with the world? Okay, let me stop before I keep going. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to let you listen to some other clips from different opinions. And I like to add in other people's point of view because they be different backgrounds, different races, different religions. So that I'm not the only one that thinks this way. And you can hear different points of view. And if my message didn't come across to you in a way that you can understand or receive, then maybe one of these other ones will. So I like when I can find other little clips. So if no one's told you today that they love you, let me be the first to say it. I love you. And I hope you have a better than great day. Talk to you later. Take care. Mwah. Bye.
Cut and set a goal, we can achieve it. And we outnumbered them. So that's when they realized I got to cut these years down.
Share with your audience what you would like them to do to get to the next step in their own evolution.
Well, one thing that I'd like to see people do, especially in the Black community, is to start to research and investigate everything they've been taught. I don't expect you all to believe in aliens and all this other kind of stuff. Some of you will, some of you won't. And that's okay. There's no problem with that. What I do want you to do is I want you to analyze everything that you've been taught from the time you were born. Go and research it, but don't just research it from a couple of Google searches. Go and get books. Research the source material. Research the source words and terminologies. Find out more about real science. Research basic standard physics. Start learning basic biology and how things work. And stop taking information that's been handed down from one person to the next and taking it as true. You've got to answer your own questions. You've got to dig deeper. You've got to spend a lot more time. It's very important that you do this so you can get the truth. Also, change your diet. I don't expect everybody to become a vegan, but you can significantly modify your diet to a point where you can make yourself healthier, and you can also pass it on to your children, because we've now been killing ourselves with food and bad information for hundreds of years. We need to change that. We need to convert. There needs to be a change made right now where we all start to rethink the way everything is processed, and we need to change our diets and go out there and just try to live a better life, and also tap into finances. Learn how finances work. Learn how credit works. Teach your kids from an early age how to start businesses. Make that their goal, not just to go to school and get a good job and then pay taxes, but to actually excel to another level, to be their own boss and to keep the dollar circulating in your community.
Thank you so much, Billy. I think he said it all. I think you should also start to modify your gates, what you listen to, what you watch, what you allow to permeate your spirit. Analyze who is really trying to motivate you, download into you, what is trying to download into you. You've got to learn to be more sensitive to what's going on, who's trying to pull your strings, who is the puppeteer. And one of the most important aspects, learn to love yourself and then love on others.
This economic responsibility that we have to uplift generations to come.
Celebrities take a lot of criticism for a lot of moves that they make. And I want to ask you about Lizzo. Lizzo has recently been in the news. Now, this is a woman who is overweight, and she goes around twerking every opportunity she gets. Now, from the outside looking in, a lot of people will say she's part of an agenda that's being pushed. But from her perspective, she's saying, listen, I worked hard. There's nights I didn't sleep. I've been trying to get on for over a decade. So in her mind, all the hard work she has done, or anybody who has done hard work, it's hard for them to see that they're part of an agenda when they done put in that work. So what would you say to a sister like Lizzo, who's like, you're criticizing me, you're telling me I can't do this, that's not right for the race, but I work hard. Why can't I do this? What would you say to somebody like Lizzo?
It's very interesting. I think that there's multiple dilemmas in her particular case, right? I think that she does get some unfair treatment on how she's attacked, right? On how people essentially just rawly go at her. At the end of the day, she's a woman, right? And a lot of the attention received is because of the backlash that she gets. If nobody cares, nobody cares, right? So she has now made it to the point where she is gathering more attention with these things, and people are lashing out more, giving her more attention, creating more marketing, increasing her brand, which increase her profits. So at the end of the day, it's a money move for her. She know that the more that people care about what she do, the more money she's going to make. So she's a byproduct of the algorithm of her success. You understand me? And there's always going to be a double standards that exist on how you treat one celebrity versus how you treat the other, right? It's like, we are a society that may be overly conscious, saying that we really need Lizzo to stop being big. You understand me? But at the same time, some of those same proponents aren't eating healthy themselves. But, it doesn't take away from the logic of the conversation when it comes to obesity, because 45 to 50% of America is obese. And we are in the middle of a pandemic. And especially people who are extremely obese, we see that as an overt, you understand me, issue, because it's a direct correlation with disease. And Black people being in the pandemic specifically, the world is becoming more health conscious. So someone who has a large platform, who is influencing generations of young girls to be themselves in this obese form, like that's, everybody can choose whatever they want to do with their life. But when it comes to influencing others, now you are in a war with other people who want to influence people in other directions. So we're saying that, yes, you can influence yourself all you want to, right? But when you have a platform, now you are at war with other people who don't want the influence that you're giving to people. So they're going to try to dominate that, saying that, no, I need to counteract the logic that my daughter may be growing up obese and thinking it's okay that she can still trace her dreams, be free, and she has this new outlet, you understand me, where it is, or she can say it's body shaming if you go against it, right? Or it's about there's a term that they utilize now when it comes to women just enjoying the body that they in, right? So I think that there's a responsibility that her and anybody else that has a platform have, and basically saying that just because I do it don't mean that I'm going to promote it, right? Especially when you have a younger audience. There's no science that a person can bring into to tell me that obesity is something that should be pushed on generations, right? Now, I think the way that people go about it makes her a victim because of the way that people bully her, which takes some of the credibility out of the statements that people issue against her and her platform in the way that she lodges it. But at the same time, because you continue to give her so much attention, the establishment is going to prop her up, because the establishment is about how do we manipulate the attention that people are getting so that we can put in advertisements in there and marketing, which is going to increase our bottom line. The moral position don't matter. It's about hyper-capitalism. So when you're really looking at these things, you have so many different people feeding off of it, because even the conscious person sometimes is feeding off the attention that this other person is getting so that they can increase their profit. So for me, I'm looking at it from a 360 perspective so that, you know, we can have a comprehensive understanding and be responsible when we go after people. And at the same time, you understand me, educate those so they can become examples. Because the question becomes is, you know, what's your health like? Are you at a higher risk for COVID-19 because you're obese? Yes. Are you at a higher risk for dying in a pandemic? Yes. Don't you think a better way to utilize your platform would now to be stressed about health? Yes. You understand me? Or are you going to overindulge in your habits? You understand me? Because maybe you wasn't taking care of your body because you were obsessed with obtaining some sort of success, right? That's a real thing. I'm not trying to stress you out more, but I'm trying to tell you, you know, I'm going to counter the message that I see you pushing, because you now are becoming an example of what I believe society should not move towards.
Well, what do you think about?
Glad to be here.
I want to get your insight as the mom in the family.
Sure.
Because, you know, guys, we have our own take on things. But the mom, you guys really run the show. You know, guys will tell you this. This is just the fact. The mom runs the house.
I do most of the cooking, correct?
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. So how is that? I mean, you have children and there are outside influences, but mom has, you know, mom's got the grand say here. So, I mean, what is the diet like at your household there?
Well, so I have a 2-year-old son, and I'm raising him to be plant-based as well. So I make all of his meals. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I send him with some food to go to his nanny's house during the day. And so I just pack him, you know, some pretty basic staples, beans, greens, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, that sort of thing. So he does really well, and he's a healthy, happy little guy who's developing just fine.
So he hasn't had the taste yet for, you know, anything meat or dairy or anything like that. Are you concerned as a parent that at some point that might get introduced out of the house?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you're talking about this on the show today, because it's a question that I think that's the biggest problem for people following a plant-based diet is all the social pressures.
Right.
And children themselves have a whole another layer of challenges. So there have definitely been times when we are at a party and there's a spread of appetizers, and there's chips and salsa and, you know, the strawberries and things that he will eat, but then there's also shrimp. And so what do you do? And every parent is going to be different, because when you have a 2-year-old standing there hungry,
right,
and he wants to eat what everybody else is eating, what do you do?
Well, let me stop you there. I'm assuming this was not a child's birthday party that had shrimp. I've been to many a children's birthday parties growing up. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, wait, what? A cake and ice cream I get, but shrimp? Like, no way. So I know he's 2 years old now, and I think that you have a little bit better handle on things. Have you thought about how you're going to kind of coach him up as he gets older and goes off to school, where they have school lunches and definitely will have more peer pressure there?
Yeah, I think when he gets older, it's going to have to come from inside him. I can't police him all the time, and I can't tell him to say yes to this and no to that. So, you know, I'm going to tell him why I eat the way that I do and why we eat the way that we do, and whether or not he takes that when he goes to the school cafeteria, that will be up to him, and I'll just do my best to encourage him.
Let me ask you this kind of fun question. I remember watching a sitcom back in the day, and there was one character on there who was, thinking back, 20 years ahead of her time as far as, wanting to raise her kid on a vegan diet. But at that point, she was kind of chastised for this cake that she was making. I can't remember if it was like a carrot cake or an applesauce cake or whatever it was. Her father was like, none of the kids are going to eat this. It's going to, taste like garbage. He tastes it, and he's like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Obviously it's TV. I didn't taste the cake. I don't know if she's a good cook or not. But, my question is, from a parent standpoint, are you worried that maybe he might get teased a little bit? I know that that's kind of like a harsh question, but...
he could. And I think I will just prepare him with the knowledge and the information for how to respond to that. But if he does get teased and he gets teased into eating pizza and he has pizza, I'm okay with that. And I think that, just as I've had a gradual progression of my diet into what it is today, and I think it will continue to change, I expect the same thing for him as well, especially across the developmental stages.
Yeah, very few people, I believe, are, born into the plant-based diet. It is that progression. Everybody kind of has... Well, the majority of people kind of have that aha moment, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm actually kind of glad to hear that you're not overly concerned about slip-ups, and you're just going to kind of...
Maybe it's just my style of parenting.
Well, no, it's, it's unfortunate if it happens, I think, but at the same time, we're talking about realistic here,
Absolutely.
Realistic expectations.
Yeah,
and, kids being kids, it is what it is. And plus... there's going to be that peer pressure that he's going to put on himself. Like if everybody else is eating that pizza with extra cheese and he's over there, eating his chips and salsa, which tastes great, but it's not pizza, he wants to fit in. That's tough for a kid, whether it's food or anything else.
It's been hard for me as an adult to handle the social implications of being plant-based. I'd say it's like I said, it's one of the most challenging things that people face. So to handle that as a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 13-year-old boy, I think that's going to be challenging for sure.
Wow, you're even getting it as an adult, huh? Who's giving you those ribs? Who do I need to talk to?
I think everybody who follows a vegan diet has been taunted before, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just have one bite.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the, but butter's healthy kind of arguments from people? I still get that one.
No, people have stopped. I think we all have nutrition fatigue a little bit. It's a little like politics. And so when you're at dinner parties and things, I think people are just so tired of, running into the same barriers and the fences that we've all built up.
Right.
And that nobody's really willing to change, it seems like, in social situations.
Sure.
Kind of like politics and religion, So
I think that I also want to ask you about this, because I know that in many households, maybe the mother is 100% vegan, the father is not. How does one go about shopping for that and determining which diet the child will follow? That's actually got to be a pretty serious conversation that the husband and wife have to have there.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it requires an immense amount of communication, talking about why the person who is vegan eats the way that they do, and what they want for the child. And also it also requires a fair amount of research between the parties. Mm-hmm. So, whether the diet, because the child can follow a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, and eat really, really unhealthily. So it still needs to be a well-planned vegan diet. So, the person that wants the child to maybe follow a plant-based diet, they really need to know their information and know, where is the child going to get calcium and omega-3s and B12 and that sort of thing. And then the person that doesn't want to eat that way, describe why they don't, and whether or not they're open to their child being either 100% plant-based or mostly so. So it's just, and it's so, I feel like I'm giving the politically correct answer, but it is so unique between couples. Some people have absolutely no issue whatsoever.
Right.
This is not a video to discourage you from formula feeding. This is simply a video to inform you about ingredients in commercial brands of formula that I want you to know about. This is a video to empower you if you are going to formula feed. And I want you to be confident in formula feeding your baby and know exactly what you are giving to them. What is GMO in baby formula? First of all, let's talk about what is GMO. GMO is genetically modified organisms, or you can just call them genetically engineered, genetically modified, or genetically modified ingredients. The reason for creating genetically modified crops is for two reasons. The first reason is mass production. Genetically modified crops are used to create large amounts of crops. And the second reason is because these large crops are meant to feed our ever-growing population. It kind of sounds actually pretty good if you think of it, but unfortunately, genetically modified foods, ingredients, genetically engineered foods are not safe at all. There are 4 reasons why you need to be concerned about genetically modified ingredients in your baby's formula. The first reason is that genetically modified crops are heavily sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides, which means that these crops are pest resistant and weather resistant. Basically, that means these crops can withstand an apocalypse. The second issue with genetically modified crops is there is a potential for those pesticide residues to end up in the final product, which is your baby's formula. How alarming is that? The third issue with genetically modified organisms is that there is absolutely no research done regards the safety of these crops being given to babies. There is no long-term studies, there's no short-term studies talking about the safety of using these ingredients in formula, which basically means we have no clue about GMO effects on babies and their health. So GMO health risks are unknown. This is a reason why we should completely avoid GMOs at all costs, because we don't know how they can affect people, especially our babies, because they are much more vulnerable and their systems, like their livers where they're able to detox these toxic chemicals, are not as matured as ours as adults. Commercial brands of formula like Enfamil, Nestle, Similac, and Gerber have really good marketing tactics. They are so good that they claim that their product is non-GMO, when in fact, their products are not on any lists of non-GMO certified ingredients. If you want to check it out, here's your website, the Non-GMO Verification Project, where they list every product, every brand that is non-GMO, that's using non-GMO seeds, non-GMO ingredients. Companies must have this verification label to state that their products are non-GMO. Large GMO crops like corn and soy are the largest crops in the entire world that have the most altercation to their DNA, that have the largest range of GMO seeds. It is very hard to find any corn or any soy that is not GMO. Let's talk about ingredients in your baby's formula. The first ingredient I want to raise a red flag to is corn. Corn, aka corn syrup, corn maltodextrin, corn syrup solids, high fructose corn syrup, or for short form, HCFS. This is one of the main ingredients in infant formula. Enfamil, Nestle, Similac all contain corn or corn syrup solids or some type of byproduct of corn. The issues with corn are endless in my opinion. However, I'm going to give you 3 issues as to why corn should be avoided completely. First reason was back to the first point of it being GMO. This is one issue that you should definitely take into consideration, especially when there is no research done on GMO and the effects on health. Second reason why we should be avoiding corn at all costs, especially for children and our babies, corn syrup bypasses all normal body functions. It passes digestion, it passes the liver, so the liver cannot clear it, the liver cannot make sure that it's safe to consume. It bypasses all those functions to make sure that that thing is safe to be going into the body and into the bloodstream and into our cells. Not to mention that corn syrup is the #1 cause for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is the main cause of obesity. It is the main cause of children who have high cholesterol. Any type of health issues that children can be experiencing all can be pointed back to high fructose corn syrup. That is because, which brings me to reason number 3, it is used as sweeteners in pretty much everything. Formula, kid-friendly snacks, our pops, our foods, our processed foods to be specific. Why is it used? Because it is such a cheap ingredient to use. Like I mentioned in the first point, GMOs are meant to mass produce, mass feed people. So that means that they're going to be coming at a cheaper cost, which is why companies like Similac, Enfamil, and Nestle are all using this ingredient. Cheaper ingredients equals more money. If you want to learn more about corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup, I'm going to link in my bio Dr. Mark Hyman, who talks a lot about high fructose corn syrup and the effects that it has on health. Let's talk about the third ingredient that can be found in infant formula, soy. Soy is found in pretty much every commercial brand of formula for babies that also include cow's milk. I'm not entirely sure why they are both put in there. In my opinion, it is a cheap filler soy, so it can cost companies a lot less money of actually putting proper ingredients into their formula. So they substitute other ingredients or fillers for soy because it is a high GMO crop. And like I said, GMO crops are cheap and they make more money. I also want to mention one thing about soy. There is soy formulas on the market for babies. If you watch my last video over here that I talked about last week about types of formulas, I mentioned that soy is the last resort to be given to babies. I only ever recommend soy formula to be given when it is the last option baby is reacting to everything else they're consuming, and I only suggest giving baby soy as, like I said, their last resort for giving them something. Note to self, if baby is reacting to cow's milk, most likely they are going to react to soy. 3 issues with soy. GMO crop, it contains phytates, which bind minerals, which can cause nutrient deficiencies. And the final issue that I have with soy is that it can affect a male's reproductive system. Check it out over here in this video as well too. While you're watching about phytates, you can also find out why it can affect a male's reproductive system. Amino acid based formulas. This is something I wanted to quickly throw into this video because I really wanted to share it with you. I also talked about it in the last video that I keep mentioning about the formulas. Is hydrolyzed or hypoallergenic formula is the partially broken down pre-digested formula. But in the process of pre-digesting it and it becoming hydrolyzed, monosodium glutamate is actually created in the process, which is known as MSG, which has also been linked to diabetes, ADD, and IBS. Let's talk about crazy additives that are inside of infant formula. All parents want to raise a healthy, nourished-brained, healthy-eyed baby, which is why DHA and ARA have been added to infant formula. Arachidonic acid, known as AA or ARA, has been added to infant formula, along with DHA. Like I mentioned, it has been newly added to infant formula just to give them that extra level of brain and eye support. I am all about nourishing a baby's brain and nourishing their beautiful eyes, but I have 2 issues with this added DHA. The first issue is that it is synthetic. Yes, it is sourced from algae, but in the process of producing it into this DHA that can be added into infant formula, it is being introduced to a neurotoxin, mercury, which can be potentially a contaminant in infant formula. Which, if you really think of it, if we're doing an important step into supporting baby's brain by giving them DHA, yet potentially we could be adding a toxic, neurotoxic, which is brain, nervous system toxin, then we're kind of defeating that purpose. Not to mention, we can be adding a lot more stress and a lot more damage to our baby's health. The second issue that I have with this added DHA into formula is that it has been known to cause diarrhea in babies. What you can do instead is give baby a DHA-free formula, but you can also use to support their brain and to support their eye health is to give them cod liver oil. This is a DHA supplement for babies. It is rich in DHA, so omega-3s, along with vitamin D and vitamin A. In my opinion, this is the best DHA supplement for babies. Note to self, if your baby's under 2 months, I strongly recommend you working with a nutritional practitioner if you're interested in giving them cod liver oil. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I want to inform you and give you the best information when it comes to formula feeding your baby. So instead of giving them all of these terrible commercial brands, let's give them something better because they are worth it. I strongly recommend giving them European brand formulas like Hole, like Nanny Care, because Europe has a higher standard of quality when testing products for food for babies. Here in North America, corn syrup is quickly added to sweeten up formulas. In Europe, corn syrup is actually banned. Now let that sink in for a second. That goes to show you how strict standards are in Europe compared to North American standards.
Thanks a billion for listening. You can reach me on other social media platforms at www.linktr.ee/luv.meesh. I hope you have a better than great day. Love ya. Talk to you later. Mwah. Bye. Go me. It's the Meesha Podcast. Hey, go me. Go me.